recording. Hey everybody, this is Sam with the Bluegrass Council of the Blind. Today we are back for another AT group seminar. And today we're talking about Ambutech. All things Ambutech. Ambutech is one of the world's largest cane manufacturers. They're definitely the largest manufacturer of mobility canes for the blind here in North America and in Europe. But we're going to be talking about I've got all their different products, most of their products. I'm going to be talking about canes and tips and accessories and showing you guys a little bit of the cool stuff that they offer. So if you guys like this and you would like to see more, remember that we put out these AT seminars every single month, and they get recorded on Zoom and then put onto our YouTube page. If you would like to participate in person, then reach out to us. You can reach us on the web at www.bcbky.org. You can send us an email, info, I-N-F-O, at bcbky.org, or you can give us a call, 859-259-1834. And if you'd like to see some of the older videos and group seminars and our peer support group meetings, then check out our YouTube page, the Bluegrass Council of the Blind on YouTube. All right, so let's jump in talking about Ambutech. So Ambutech, spelled A-M-B-U-T-E-C-H. They are a Canadian company and a relatively small company. A lot of people are surprised to hear that because they are such a leading force in the mobility cane world. A lot of people are surprised to hear that they're a relatively small company. I think they only have about 20 or so staff members producing the canes. So, but they definitely don't let that stop them from creating an amazing product. If you are a mobility cane user of any type, chances are you're probably using an Ambutech cane, or at the very least have used one in the past. That's how common they are. They have a wide variety of mobility canes for the blind and visually impaired. They also make support canes or stability canes. But we're going to focus mainly on the mobility canes because that's kind of our community. So they make canes. They also produce tips. They have accessories. So let's start with the canes. Now, I'm going to quickly switch cameras so you guys can see some of the stuff we're going to be talking about. Hold on a second. Okay, now we are looking down at my desk here, so you guys will be able to get a better shot of the tips and the canes and things like that. So Ambutech makes three cane, several different cane types, but they work with three different types of materials for their canes. They have graphite canes, aluminum canes, and fiberglass canes. The aluminum is super strong and durable. Fiberglass is very lightweight. And then graphite is kind of the best of both of them. It's lightweight and very, very strong, and probably the strongest material. I prefer the graphite, but they give you a wide variety to choose from. We have three different types of canes. You have mobility canes, full-size mobility canes that are used for daily driver cane users. These are the types that if you're a full-time user, you're going to be using this type of cane. They're super strong and durable. They also have identification canes. They are skinnier, more lightweight. and used primarily for just that identification. And then they also have telescopic canes. And I'll show you a quick example here. So this is a mobility cane. And let me arrange it here so that we can see the difference. Then here we have an identification cane. And then here we have a telescopic cane. So it's not as easy to see on the camera, but in real life, it's much easier to tell. The identification cane is much thinner than the mobility cane. It's about the size of a pencil, as thickness of a pencil, whereas the mobility cane is probably as thick as like a magic marker, if that helps people kind of get an idea. And then the telescopic cane is much thicker, but it starts out nice and thick towards the top and then ends up being very small and thin at the bottom because they telescope into each other. The one size section is smaller than the previous, so it can slide into the previous and telescope closed. So those are the three basic kinds of canes. Put these away real quick. Now, when it comes to your full mobility canes, they have adult sizes, they have children's sizes. The adult sizes are right around 36 inches up to 72 inches. The children's sizes are right around 12 inches up to 34 inches, about that. I believe that's what the numbers are. So there should be a length of cane for every person. Then each of those different types, you have two types. You have a folding cane or a rigid cane. Folding means just that. It is made of multiple sections. There's a bungee cord in the middle, and you can fold the cane up into a smaller package that's easy to carry around. It's much more portable. The rigid cane does not fold up. It does not break at all. It's a solid cane shaft. And so some people prefer a rigid cane. Some people don't like to deal with it not being as portable. Getting in and out of cars, in and out of airplanes, in and out of trains and buses, it's a little bit more difficult to handle a rigid cane than it is a folding cane. And then once again, you have the telescopic cane that telescopes down nice and small. The canes, if you do have a folding cane, like this is a folding cane I have here. So you can see that it has multiple sections and each section is separated by a bungee, or there's a bungee going through the middle. You can choose how many sections you want on your cane. So if you were to get like a 56-inch cane, that's how tall the cane is, you can choose if you wanted 4 sections, if you wanted 5, if you wanted 6. This particular one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, has 5 sections. And the more sections, the smaller it folds down when it's all folded up. The smaller package it is when it's all folded up. So that's really the only benefit of choosing your sections, is how small it is when it's folded down. Okay. You can also choose the handle type or the grip type. Most of the canes, the standard grip is this rubbery, textured hand grip, and it has a flat section on one side. It's traditionally called a golf club style grip because it's the same kind of grip you would find on a golf club. But there are different grips that you can get. Here is one that is a red leather, and it's a very soft sheepskin leather. It even has some stitching element on it to add a little bit of texture. Very soft, but this still has that flat side on it. So this is a little bit more luxurious style of a grip. Or you can even get no grip. So this slimline cane, which is the thin cane, doesn't have a grip at all. It's just a top section. So lots of different options to choose from. And we're going to talk about some more options you have here in a little bit regarding customizing your cane. All right, so we've gone over the different types of canes, the different cane materials. Um, I actually have a video on my YouTube channel, The Blind Life, where I go over all of the different types of canes that are available in the world. And I talk about the benefits of each different type of cane. You know, there's a benefit of why you might want to get a mobility cane over an identification cane. Or there's, you know, the different why you choose the certain length of cane that you might want. So if you're interested about that, you can check out that video. It's all about the white cane, and it's on my YouTube channel, The Blind Life. All right. Now, let's talk about cane tips. So I always say that the analogy I always give is that the cane tip is kind of like a pair of shoes for the cane. And we people, humans, we wear different types of shoes for different situations. So if I were going to go walk through the rain, I might put on my rain boots. If I were going to walk through the snow, I'm going to put on my snow boots. I'm not going to wear my flip-flops in the snow because that's not the right kind of shoe for snow weather. So tips are very similar. There are lots of different types of tips, and certain tips are better for certain situations. The first tip that most people are going to be familiar with is this guy here. This is called a marshmallow tip because it is shaped like a marshmallow. And this is kind of your good overall, works well in a lot of situations kind of tip. This particular one that I have is a rolling marshmallow. Some of them roll, some do not roll. And there's a benefit to the rolling and a benefit to the not rolling. But one thing you'll notice is the other end here. This is called a hook style tip. And depending on which cane you get, yours might require a hook tip, yours might require a slip-on tip, or yours might require a screw tip with an 8 millimeter threaded screw end. So it's just important to know which kind of cane you have. Depends on which kind of tip you want to get. But each of those different styles of tips or categories of tips, hook tips, slip-on tips, screw tips, they all will have all the different styles of tips available, which is great. But rolling marshmallow tip, it's not too big, so it's not going to be heavy, but it's large enough that it's going to roll over most obstacles like tree branches, cracks in the sidewalk, things like that. So this is generally why most people prefer a marshmallow tip. If you're not sure what tip to get, I would get a marshmallow tip. This particular one is also called a high mileage tip, which means that it's made from a more durable material and will last 2 to 3 times longer than your standard marshmallow tip. Another fantastic tip that a lot of people really love is the large rolling ball tip. And I've got a couple examples of that tip here, but they're all different type. They're all rolling ball tips, but they're slightly different. So it's about the size of a tennis ball, and it rolls side to side just like the marshmallow one does. And this particular one that I have here is a hook style tip. So this would go on a hook style cane. I also have a slip on here. So the slip on just does what it says. It just slips right onto the end of the cane and kind of sticks on there through friction, you know, just kind of wedges itself on there. But this is also a rolling slip-on ball tip. And this particular model is a hook version, but this is that high mileage rolling ball tip also. So this one will last a little bit longer than the other one. Rolling ball tips are great. They are they're kind of, I refer to them as the Swiss Army knife or the all-terrain cane or all-terrain tip for a cane because they can go over just about anything. They are so big, they roll over most obstacles. You can even use these in certain terrain like grass and things. But It is heavy. It's large. It's heavy. So if you are a 2-point touch user, which means you tap your cane back and forth, side to side, this is going to be maybe a little heavy for you. Another very popular tip is just the simple pencil tip, named that because it's shaped very similar to a pencil. Has a very blunt end here, very skinny. This particular one is a slip on, but they do have hook style as well, and even the screw style. Now, the thing with a pencil tip is it's not the best for constant contact users. Constant contact user is somebody that sweeps their cane side to side and keeps it constantly in contact with the ground. So they slide back and forth. Because this has such a sharp end like this, it's going to get stuck in everything. Every little crack, every little bump, every little nook and cranny, it's going to get stuck in that if you're using it that way. So the pencil tip could be used for 2-point touch, but it's going to be great for identification. It's going to be great for light probing. So if somebody just needs a cane to test how deep the steps are, how deep the curb is, that's where the pencil tip is going to come in and work really, really well. Another option, which is my personal favorite, is the metal glide tip. So this just looks like a coin at the end of a tip, and it's made out of metal, so it is extremely durable, and it's called the glide tip because it tends to glide over most things. This particular one is a screw on, but I have a hook style on one of my canes. I'll show you that here in a second. But I just love this because it glides wonderfully over hardwood floors, over linoleum, over carpet, works pretty well over things like concrete and asphalt, and just glides really, really well, really nicely. Here is a very strange tip. This is a rolling wheel tip. So it's just a wheel at the end of a hook style tip, and kind of reminds me of a wheelbarrow wheel. So if you took the wheel off of a wheelbarrow and put it on the end of a tip, that is what you're going to have here, the rolling wheel tip. And it just kind of rolls out in front of you. Very interesting tip, very unique. Another very unique tip is the Dakota disc tip. So a lot of people say this looks like a flying saucer on the end of your cane, or I've had kids say it looks like a paper plate down on the end of your cane. It kind of reminds me of the metal detectors you see people using at the beach. But this is it's flat on the top, and then it's kind of convex, I guess, on the bottom. So this glides right over lots of different material, lots of different terrain, mostly softer terrain like snow and sand and grass. It's gonna be fantastic for that. Mud, anything like that your regular tip might just sink right into. This is going to glide right over it. Now, this is not going to be good for concrete or asphalt or gravel because this plastic is so thin. It might just tear. It might just rip right through the plastic, that harder material. But like I said, it kind of works like a snow ski over snow. It's fantastic for that. Another great tip is the jumbo roller tip. So this also kind of looks like a little flying saucer on the end of your cane. Um, Very hard material. This is the high mileage jumbo roller, and it's called that because it just rolls back and forth beautifully. It's a disc on the end of your cane that's probably about 3 or 4 inches wide, and just it's about an inch thick and it just rolls back and forth. If you are a constant contact user and you're sweeping your cane back and forth, this is fantastic tip. And then another great tip, one of the super durable tips is the ceramic tip. So this is, it looks like a little, I guess a marble, a ceramic marble at the end of your cane, and it's about an inch wide. But it is extremely durable. I mean, it's made out of ceramic, so it's going to last for a long, long time. This is, if you are constant contact, this is going to be pretty good, although it will tend to get caught in the cracks and things because it's not very large. But like I said, super durable. A lot of people really love the ceramic tip. And then one of the last tips I want to talk about is this is the flex tip. It's very similar to the jumbo roller. It is a little bit smaller. It's only about inch and a half, 2 inches wide, and maybe about an inch thick. Kind of like a little hockey puck on the end of your cane. But the stem here that connects to the cane flexes. So I'll see if I can do that, and you guys can see it here. Where's my camera? There it is. So I can flex this connection, the hook connection flexes within the tip. So that helps it kind of bounce out of things. If you're walking along and you come into contact with a crack or a tree root, instead of just stopping dead and getting stuck, it might flex a little bit and bounce right out. But it's still nice and large and will avoid a lot of those smaller cracks and things. So this is a nice tip as well. And one thing I'll mention about this, a lot of people are always asking pricing of all these things. A lot of these tips are not expensive. So I encourage people to experiment, try out different tips because they're not very expensive. I mean, some of these tips are less than $5. So it's not bad at all. Now, Ambutech also has mobility tools, different types of mobility tools. And I have one to show you here. Let me scoot these things out of the way. This is, do it this way. This is called the broom tip, and it's a very strange tip. The particular one that I have is a hook-on tip, so it hooks onto the end of your cane just like a regular tip. Then you have, it looks like a push broom. It's super wide. There's a center axle, and there's two wheels on the end of each of the axle on each end. And it's the same wheel that's on the rolling wheel tip. So a large diameter black rubber wheel, probably about 4 inches, 5 inches wide. And you just push it right out in front of you. And it's a mobility tool more than it is just a standard tip. So very interesting. Ambutech has several different types of mobility tools. Basically, for people that can't use a standard cane for whatever reason, they have different options that will accommodate that, and this is one of them. Pretty interesting. Something else, I talked about the identification canes, and there's one thing I wanted to mention is that identification canes, especially, they're more popular in European countries rather than here in the US, but sometimes they're just a cane that you just hold. It's not even long enough to go down to the ground. And this is one of those. This is an telescopic ID cane. So it slides out, and it's going to be hard to kind of show you guys, but it's only about 28 inches long. And it's just a simple white cane, Has a very nondescript, blunt tip here, and it telescopes down to a really small, maybe like 6, 7 inch container. And this is simply to identify you as being visually impaired. So for someone that maybe has a slight impairment where they don't need a cane for mobility, but they still want to be recognized as being visually impaired, they can just carry one of these types of canes. Now, as I said, here in the US, I don't know a lot of people that would recognize what you were carrying as what it represents, but this is much more popular in Europe. I know it is. I know a lot of people use these types of things in European countries, but still really interesting. Another accessory that I want to talk about, Ambutech offers lots of different accessories, and including like cane pouches, cane holsters, things like that. But you can also get this. This is the Pharaoh's, kind of like the Egyptian pharaohs, cane light. And so this is just a simple little LED flashlight that will clip onto your cane. It comes with little adapters that clip onto the cane, and then the Pharaoh's light will clip into the adapter. And I can twist the end here and it turns on the light, flashlight. You can see the flashlight on my desk and my hand and stuff. And this points down to where your tip is, and it just adds a little bit of a light down to the where your tip is going, the end of your cane is going. So, pretty interesting. The Pharaoh's cane light. And then the last tip I want to talk about is one of their brand new tips. This is the Pathfinder 360 tip. It resembles a large rolling ball tip, but this is a 360-degree rolling tip. So it will roll sideways laterally, but I can also roll it forwards. And so if you're using this on the end of your cane, you can roll it in any direction, side to side, forwards, backwards. It rolls in any direction. So that's why it's called the Pathfinder 360. So interesting new tip, brand new, just out maybe a year or two. All right. And the last thing I want to talk about with Ambutech is their customizing options. So Ambutech is one of the only cane manufacturers that I know of that lets you customize the color of your cane. And let me grab some things here. They have a wide variety of color options. This is just a little sample of some grips. These are small grips for like a child's cane, but it gives you an example of the colors you can choose from. So if you don't want to have the standard black grip, you want to add a little bit of personality by adding some color, you can do that. They have pinks and yellows and greens and blues and reds and blacks, and these are called their highlight colors. So when you're ordering on the website, you can choose the highlight color for your grip. You can also choose the color for your cane. And I actually have a sample here that they made for me that give me a second, let me get it for you. Shows this is a slimline cane, but it shows all the different, where are we at here? There we go. Shows all the different colors that you can choose from. Oh, I grabbed the wrong one. Sorry. I can't see well either. Here it is. Here's the colored one. So this has all the different colors that you can get your cane shafts or different sections to be. And you could do multicolored, like this one would be kind of a rainbow colored cane, but you could also get a solid blue or maybe half black and half red or whatever you want to do. Um, so there's blues and greens and yellows. They even have textured patterns. There's a color called marigold. You can even get multi-red section canes if you want. You know, some people might want a cane that kind of looks like a candy cane where it's red and white alternating sections. In some countries, that actually represents a different type of vision impairment. So you might want to do that. Or you might want to have alternating blue and green, you know, whatever you want to do. You can do that with Ambutech canes. It's pretty awesome. And as an example, I had this one made, and this is a solid black cane. It's solid black all the way down. It's hard for me to show you. Here, I'll show you like this. This is a 4-section, 56-inch cane. It is solid black. It's got a black grip, and then it's solid black all the way down. And then I have one of the high mileage marshmallow tips on it. But I just thought that might be cool, having a solid black cane. Maybe I was going to a nice fancy event. I could wear my tuxedo with my solid black cane. So that's some of the cool things you can do with Ambutech. Add a little bit of personality to your cane. Okay. Well, there you go, guys. So that was kind of a deep dive into Ambutech. One thing that I forgot to mention, which I will quickly mention, is that you can also purchase replacement parts for your cane. So if something were to happen to your cane, here's a bag of replacement bungee you can order. Here's some parts like the couplers in the middle. You can also get a hook, a bungee hook to fish the bungee through the different sections. And you can even get replacement reflective tape. So here's a bag with red and white reflective tape. So if your red section is starting to get beat up and starting to peel, you can get extra tape and repair it. So lots of different things that Ambutech offers. Definitely check them out. Once again, the website is ambutech.com, and great website, very low vision and blind friendly as well. But that is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please let us know. Once again, you can reach out to us at bcbky.org or send us an email, info@bcbky.org. And don't forget to check out our other videos on our YouTube channel. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time.